Hey, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, very good. Wow, that was powerful. I wanted to jump in so many times, but obviously there'll be more opportunities for us to really do a lot more exchanging of wonderful ideas as we move forward to create a new reality for our people. So our next principle of the day is called UJAMAA, which means cooperative economics. And I think we've been skirting around that in a lot of different ways already since the last three. And that is to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and our own businesses, and to profit from them together, which would be unlike a capitalistic model. So we are looking at cooperative economics, UJAMAA.
I say.
Appreciate it, everybody. My name is Matthew Robinson. So just a brief intro. I'm an alumnus of Tuskegee University, also of Cooperative Extension at Tuskegee. I'm also a fourth generation farmer. I've been doing this full time for 5 years. Mainly I do like produce farming, vegetable farming, but I also do hemp as well. So we have a holistic company called Celestial Tribe Healing Company. And so yeah, we offer online products as well. We've been doing that for 3 years. So that's basically my connection to this space as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pose the first question and I'm gonna let the panelists introduce themselves. So, all right, so the first question is describe your niche and how you ended up in this space. So we're gonna start with our brother Nadir Pearson from Student MMJ.
Beautiful. Well, thank y'all for inviting me on this beautiful day. And so obviously want to give a big shout out to Kando and everybody at Tuskegee Smart, Lakaya, everybody that's been putting forth, you know, the time and efforts. And so, yeah, I mean, I think on my behalf, in terms of my niche and how, you know, I've been able to explore that in cannabis has definitely been around education and communication, you know, really raising awareness so that people know the basics. That was a lot of what we did in the first 2-3 years of Smart, and really building out a foundation and a network of young folks and alumni that are interested in talking about, you know, this industry. And then additionally, just communication and continue to raise awareness and finding creative ways to make that understandable and accessible to folks of all backgrounds. So I think that in short is my niche.
I appreciate that. Next, we have Coach Swan Simpson from Canna Bistro.
Good afternoon, family. I am so happy to be here. I did not want to miss this for anything in the world. There is nowhere else I would rather be today in this moment in time. Just to kind of do a brief introduction of, you know, my background. I am the founder of Canna Bistro and the executive chef. We are a CBD and cannabis infused food brands. We opened the first CBD infused cafe here in the Metro Atlanta area. We opened the first CBD and cannabis infused cafe and restaurant in the Southeast. We also are the first woman-owned, Black-owned CBD manufacturer in the state of Georgia. We have a co-op hemp farm out in Colorado. We won an I2 accelerator back in 2019, and that put us on the radar of Wall Street, and one of the top 14 cannabis investment capital firms, Meritacap, owns a small minority stake in our company. Also in 2019, I rolled out my coaching and mentoring, where I've helped over 100 Black woman-owned and Black men-owned cannabis brands launch over the last 2 years. Then I started an organization called Women Who Cannabis. We are the only lobby registered lobby for women of color in cannabis. So that organization puts on an event every year. We've been doing this since 2018. We put on an event every year in August. It is the largest recirculation of Black wealth in the cannabis industry. Happens once a year here in Atlanta. So that's just a little bit about my background. We can go deeper in some of the work we're doing as we continue with the questions.
Gotcha, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next, we have C.K. Johnson from Family CBD.
This is very exciting. I'm just been blown away. I mean, this is incredible. To see this happening and to be a part of it is very exciting to me. I just think that I didn't know. I mean, I searched for the individuals such as this to, network with. And so this is a proud moment for me. I also have a nonprofit that is called Healthy Hemp Growers. And what we do, we train the homeless veterans and veterans to become part of the labor force to actually help the farmers to grow the hemp and or cannabis. We're focusing on hemp right now because it allows us to go cross state line to actually recruit and help, and then bring on other farmers to actually do rotation growing from their regular to the hemp. Also, with my family CBD company, what we do is we actually do a lot of white labeling. So we'll manufacture any kind of product for any company that's out here that's trying to get into the CBD lane. We also make products for other industries that want to do infusions, just like the Coach Swan was saying how they infuse food. So we always try to look at how to expand the usage of the CBD as well as Delta 8s and stuff like that we do. And so I'm here to try to help the farmers navigate through the USDA paperwork, from loans to grants, to actually being able through our nonprofit to provide them with the necessary startup to help them get through the first season with the support of grants and support of our network of help that we provide. And so that's one of our goals. So today is one of the days that I think that by networking with everybody here, I think that what we collectively do, I think is going to be just fantastic. So that's pretty much what I do right now here.
Appreciate that, brother. So if everyone can go back and just kind of give a detailed background story and how you really ended up in the space, like what drew you to the space, like what's your connection to this plant. And we'll start with Nadir.
Yeah, I would say I'm from Jersey originally, for folks who don't know. So I went to boarding school in Connecticut, and then I eventually played football at Brown in Rhode Island. So that was where I eventually had to take a pivot due to concussions. I had to stop playing football. And so that gave me a lot more opportunity to figure out, where I wanted to go in my career, what my options were, beyond sports. And so I took a really hard look at what was around, and obviously Colorado was something that was happening. I mean, I had always been, since high school, somebody who was interested in the plant and interested in, more than my friends. I had, was always that friend amongst everybody who was a little bit more interested than the normal person. And I think that for me was because, I wasn't really interested in drinking. I was an athlete, and this kind of, when you hear that it's helping out with cancer, but it's also bad and people are getting arrested, there's a bit of confusion on, what is what, right? And so for me, my instincts was always to Google it. And, with that information, I kept going down the rabbit hole and quickly realized that, racism was at the core of why this plant was illegal in this country. And I think, I was lucky that I was in Rhode Island, and this was right next door to Massachusetts. And in 2016, Massachusetts had legalized adult use. And so I was right around the corner, you know, really being able to get a good understanding of what an East Coast market looks like when it's coming to fruition, not like, you know, obviously California and Oregon and Washington that were, you know, it's all past their point a little bit. So that's what got me excited. I kept meeting people, and, you know, SMART was the first thing that I got started at Brown at the time, because I knew as being a 19-year-old that I couldn't be the only person that was interested in this like we are here today. So, yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Same for you as well, Coach Swan.
My story is a little different. You know, I had interest in the health and well-being of our community a long time ago, watching so many people in my family go through health challenges. And just kind of fast forward, my mom passed prematurely, my brother passed prematurely. And, you know, I had my own battles with the pharmaceutical companies because I thought those drugs that they were taking were at fault for some of their death. And it turns out I was correct. However, what happened when I tried to sue on behalf of my mom, who passed with asthma after taking a series of pharmaceutical drugs, she was forced to take through her healthcare provider. And when I tried to sue, there were no lawsuits. There was not an attorney, no one willing to help me. So I turned around and I started looking for solutions outside of that. Then a couple of years later, I got a call from an attorney who told me, hey, you were right. All the research, all the stuff you presented to us about your mom's death, that was all correct. That's the good news. The bad news is there's a statute of limitations, and it had run out. And therefore, there is no justice for your mom in her passing prematurely. So I just kind of went on a sort of a vigilante vengeance towards the pharmaceutical industry. And that led me to moving to Las Vegas. And while I was in Vegas, I learned and immersed myself in cannabis as food, as medicine. Then I came upon a document that showed that the federal government had misled us about the plant a long time ago. I came upon a document and discovered that the federal government had a number of patents on the cannabis plant that had not been publicly disclosed. And the first patent I read was about 27 pages, and it indicated a myriad of diseases, including HIV/AIDS, things that we struggle with as a community, that they know that CBD extracted from the cannabis plant can cure. It's spelled out in the pages of this patent. And I became very angry when I learned all of this information several years ago. And I created a business model as opposed to just being angry with no outlet. I created a business model around this knowledge, and I started and I launched my business. And I've been on a path to deliver our community, and just really our vision is to lead the world to wellness. So that's how I got started in this space.
Nice, beautiful. And I think we had somebody comment the actual patent number.
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, Mr. CK.
Yeah, so we started out because my background is construction. And so we started out making module units. And there was a group out in California who wanted us to make module units for them to have grow houses. And so this was when California was just coming online that allow the medicinal usage and grow. And so we started into that lane, and then we actually partnered up with a group out there and did a dispensary. But back then it was still kind of street ran. Those dispensaries where they really didn't have a true source or a vendor where they got their product from. It was all like, you know, open up the back door, we slide you some product in and whatever. So after witnessing that, we saw that that could very well be entangled in illegal issues with us, and we didn't. So we kind of like just gave our investment and walked away. Then fast forward 10 years later, then we had the Farm Bill coming out, and everything else is like, okay, we can do this now more acceptable in different states. So we went down to Oklahoma and we took on a couple of the chicken farms and revamped them out with the chicken coops. And now we're standing at least about 144 different cannabis strands. And so from there, we start to say, okay, well, we're going to try to do pharmaceutical and for epilepsy and seizure medications and so forth. And then we start looking at how, okay, how can we continue to grow? And so I suggested that we do hemp as well, because hemp would allow us to go across state lines. So we started then doing our own seed farm for hemp and up in Wisconsin, and then we moved around in Alabama. I'm from Chicago, and so, but I've been going back and forth to Tuskegee, trying to present different ways to help the city grow with our module units and so forth. So we started here to develop with the University of Tuskegee, working with Dean Hill in the Ag Department, doing research and development of how we can actually, you know, get into the hemp lane and expand and train and teach. It's much easier for them to take the information from a hemp perspective as opposed to the cannabis, because when you say the cannabis, everybody want to say it's illegal, it's this and it's that. But even though we're still struggling with that education piece, is what we've been doing here in Alabama. That's been working pretty well. So to say how we all got started in it on our side, we actually just provide module units. And to this day, we still provide module units that we have fashioned to be grow units for any agriculture, but more importantly for the cannabis and the hemp industry.
Appreciate that. So now I'm gonna pose the question: what have been your biggest challenges in this industry, whether it's from like geographic location to legislation to labor to dissolving markets, any of those type of deals? Just let us know what have been some of your biggest challenges.
Well,
Oh, you go. Oh yeah, it don't matter which order.
well, our biggest challenges has always been labor, because as we all know, cannabis was illegal, and so everybody had their secret formula that they guarded and never wanted to share. And so you get what's called the master grower. And then when the master grower comes out there, they charge an arm and a leg to assist you. And then when they decide to, act out, they actually walk and you left and you stranded. So we went through a couple of those cycles dealing with the so-called master growers. And then we decided that we're going to go and start training our own. And it took us a process. We have a material scientist that understands the science, but, understanding the science and actually being able to grow is two different things, in my opinion. And so we had that challenge, and then we had the challenge of labor, because you just can't call up somebody and say, hey, send me a hemp grower or a cannabis grower, because it just doesn't exist like that. It's now more prevalent than it was back then. And so our major issue was labor and the how-to. And so we moved into a better lane now about the how-to and the labor. And so we're now able to expand a lot bigger on our farms in Oklahoma. And then in the hemp industry, our biggest challenge is education. How do you get somebody to understand that it is safe, to try the hemp and it's legal and it can help you, economically better than growing, what you're growing currently, unless you're a big producer of, vegetables and so forth. So our challenges has been information and labor.
I'll chime in.
Okay, let me pose a question to him real fast. Are you mainly growing outside or just in these modular units?
We growing indoor and outdoor. You know, in the cannabis, we have to grow indoor because it's regulated that we do. In Oklahoma, we're not restricted by cannabis, so we can grow as much as we want down in Oklahoma. But in terms of the hemp, we're growing indoor and outdoor. Outdoor for the industrial, but indoor for the actual flower.
Got you. Ms. Swanson?
Yeah, our two biggest challenges, first, of course, is education. And we emphasize educating the community, neighborhoods, people, small groups. So we are working on solutions, and the educational process is ongoing. It's ongoing for everybody, even those who may think they are experts, because this industry is so ever evolving. Information changes so fast, so rapidly. Nobody knows everything. It's impossible. So educating ourselves and then keeping up with the legislative piece. I think the legislative piece is the biggest, single most problem that we really have to solve. That's why I created a lobby. And the reason that's such a problem is because without it, we can't function. We can't function, we can't do business, we cannot operate. It is also a hindrance to doing business and operating. And I don't think we place enough emphasis on that because we spend more time trying to figure out how to grow as opposed to how we should change the legislative piece so that we can grow. Because without that, we can't do anything. And I also think we spend a lot of time electing people who are against our interest in this industry. We have to educate people about the policies that people who are voting for represent. If we waited for some of these people that we continuously vote for to legalize and or create policies that favor us being in this industry, we'd never be in it. So we have to educate people on how the legislative process works and how you can get involved, and you have to be involved. You can't be in this industry and not be involved in the legislative process. It does not work.
Good points.
Yeah, I would say I have to agree with that. I think every entrepreneur should know, especially in cannabis, because it's so new and everything is, so government agencies are literally coming up with the law as we sit here,
That's right.
This is the only time. And obviously, if you're paying attention, you'll see that these larger companies have been lobbying since, the start of even thinking about entering a market, right? Before they even think about going somewhere, they're going to talk to a lobbyist and see what the local, regulations are 2-3 years before the laws come out, right? So that's just, I think, for me, as somebody who's been in the industry, at least legally for the past 5 years, right? Like, I always find focus to be one of the biggest hurdles, right? For a lot of us, because there's so many different things to be thinking about, right? There's so many different, just like opportunities that you see pass by that you're like, oh, wait, that's a money hole. Or I could go down here and make some money, or here's an opportunity that I'm seeing, right? And you really have to decide where you're going to spend your time, because time is the most valuable asset that we all have, regardless of whatever money that you have. Time and how you spend your day is the only thing that we can control in a lot of ways, right? So I think for me, that's something that I've had to learn in my young career is like, okay, I can do marketing, I can go plant touching, I can do this, that, right? It's like, what is the best use of my time, especially because things are happening so fast. And I've had to, really think about like, what's going to get me from point A to point B with the least amount of money so that I can prove, right, my case study or my MVP, my minimal viable product to get to that next level to maybe get investment, right? Because we know, I feel like it's a cop out to say that capital is the biggest hurdle, right? Because we all know it's difficult to get money. And if we all had money, we would just be rich, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, what can we do with what we have? And I think, again, focus and time for me has been a big factor in that.
Most definitely. I like that perspective. So in touching with that, y'all touched on the greatest challenges, but what has been your greatest ally? You would say, like,
people.
I just break the rules. Simple as that. Now, I operate a business that is illegal from the FDA standpoint. It is illegal from the state of Georgia standpoint, and I just don't care. I understand because my why is bigger than money. If money is my only motivation, if I don't make any, I'm going to quit eventually. If I can't create a product that's profitable, I am going to quit eventually. But if my why is bigger than the money, then jail and hell and nothing else is going to stop me. So therefore, my why is so big, I don't care about what the obstacles and the hurdles are. We bulldoze our way through those. So I operate a business, like I said, that we have to understand where the gray area is, or we're going to slip up and fall real bad. But we also understand that risk that's involved, and we do it. So my biggest ally is myself, our big picture, our mission, our vision, understanding what that is, because that's what drives us. That's what guides us, and having one. A lot of people start businesses and they don't have those. You don't understand how important that vision and mission is to what you're doing. If your vision and mission is only dollars and cents, you're gonna quit.
Well, for me, it's more of relationships. But I love Coach Swan enthusiasm, how she make that approach, because I agree with that. But what's been working for me is developing relationships with the USDA, processors, trying to get a big customer base so I can actually deliver a contract to a potential farmer, to where the risk is actually no risk at that point. If I can provide them with the resources to help them to grow it, and then to be able to have it sold at the end, I can convince you more to do it at that point, because you always want to know, okay, if I put my money in to grow it, who's gonna buy it? And that's a big $1 million question out here, because who are the buyers for it? And I'm talking about hemp right now. Cannabis is a different thing for us, and we have everything that's kind of controlled statewide. But so my goal is developing relationships, international and national, buyers of the biomass, buyers of the CBD, so that we could help white label and all of this. So relationships has been working a lot for me. That has been opening up a lot of the doors. I have a very strong relationship with the USDA to get grants and able to help them with their loans. So that's been working for us. And money is money is out there, of course, but sometimes they say it's about who you know, but I disagree. Is who know you. Because you can be waving out there in front of the window all day long, and if the person don't know you, you're just not getting in.
Yeah, I would agree on that point in terms of people. I mean, there's too many opportunities. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for an army of people who've opened doors for me, and have encouraged me to do the same for others, right? And so I think that's the main reason that SMART is important to me. I don't make my salary off working for SMART and supporting students and all that stuff, right? It's just a matter of like I said, somebody paved the way for you, so we're standing on the shoulders of other people, and I think that is the biggest aspect of cooperative economics that we got to think about too. These opportunities, and I would say biggest thing too is like people will open doors for you, but make sure you're ready for the door when it opens. I think that's the biggest thing I see from people as well, is like somebody can open a door for you, but you got to make sure you stand on what you can do, and making sure that it's capitalize on that one experience, because you don't know how many we can get.
Appreciate that. So the next thing I want to kind of get into is just what aspects of innovation aligns with your business. Like the industry is relatively, well, the legal industry is relatively new, but like, how do you keep your edge? Like how do you use innovation to keep your edge and stay relevant in this industry, because it's a lot of, glitz and glamour and a lot of different, we all getting pulled in different directions every day. It's a new business, it's a new product, it's CBD, it's, gummies, it's it's just a lot of different things in the industry. So like, how do y'all keep y'all edge and stay innovative?
I'll go ahead and answer that real quickly, just because I was talking about focus earlier, and I think this definitely relates to that. And I think, biggest thing for me is starting to find people that I know are gonna know the things that I don't on a consistent basis, and then myself try to focus on like what I am really strong at and most interested in, So I'm very interested in brands and kind of like who they're selling to and how they're growing. And so I try to just do my best to focus on those things and find there's a lot of like writers and other people like professionals on LinkedIn that are consultants that I follow, right? That they occasionally are putting things out into the atmosphere that keep me up to date. Obviously you could be, getting Google alerts and doing those type of things, but yeah, definitely just continue to be a student, be super curious about things. I just love genuinely like learning about how things operate and what case studies there are for businesses and how they like maneuvered around other things, because that's super early in this space. So I find that to be like, oh, they used credit cards and that increased this for their aspect of their business, right? Like all that stuff is super fascinating. So yeah.
Well, I'll go. For us, it's always trying to find that individual who is trying to get into the CBD lane, who is trying to open up, even the ones that have stores and they using third-party products. We try to convince them to go with their own label, put the label on our products, or we go and try to create a formulation that is not on the market. I mean, we come out with massage oils with D8 and Delta 8 and CBD, CBG. I mean, we're constantly trying to come out with new stuff because it's always an evolving market. I mean, it's just like when you go out there, there's a gas station on every corner, there's a liquor store on every corner. How do they compete? They're all selling liquor, right? So they got prices and they got specials or whatever. But we try to make sure that we go and say we'll either match or beat the quality, or we'll match or beat the price. So therefore, you have an opportunity to get into this lane without going out of your budget. So we're going to make it work for you so that you can become more independent of having your own brand, your own product. And if you woke up today and you say, well, I want to just try to do a blend or an infusion or something, okay, we can go back to the lab and we talk about it, and the lab said it can be done, it be done. So we specialize in trying to make sure that we can bring innovative formulations to the market, because everybody can sell CBD, but what is the quality of it? What is the pricing structure of it? And how can you make it your own? So that's how we try to stay ahead in the game.
What we do is we leverage people and technology. Simple as that. Like someone else said earlier, this is a relationships related industry. You have to have people, even if it's people that's willing to work with you. But technology, even more so. So we're leveraging new technology, the blockchain. We're leveraging all these things to continue to expand what we do, to grow what we do, to innovate and pivot away from the necessity to depend on outside people for our growth. I understand relationships, but some of those relationships may not be favorable. And so we develop relationships that are favorable. And technology kind of takes some of those relationships out of the equation. I don't need that anymore. I don't have to kiss this person's butt over here. I don't have to schmooze over there. I can go around them, through them, past them, because I use technology now to do those things. So that's our edge. We stay young in mind, young in spirit, and we make this fun. And like I said, our focus is always our mission, always our vision. That's what keeps us focused.
Are you at liberty to speak on your involvement in blockchain technology, how you're incorporating it in your business?
I won't be able to share the details, but I will tell you that we are definitely leveraging our proprietary means to the blockchain to innovate the things that we do.
Gotcha. Also saw your website, and you offer gluten-free products and like just different. Are they vegan or they just gluten-free?
Products are vegan, organic, all natural, gluten-free, and we source a majority of our ingredients from Black farmers. So cooperative economics is what we do every day. It's not an idea, it's an action. It's what we do every day. We hire people that other people won't hire. So somebody coming out of prison has a skill set. We will hire them. We pay livable wages. Nobody has to come and tell us to do that. I don't need anybody to come tell me to do the right thing or make me do the right thing. We just do the right thing. And our business grows and is blessed as a result of that.
Is it everyone? Okay. So now I kind of want to get into the future. What do y'all see the future of the industry being? More specifically, how does the Black market affect your business? And does it? It may not, but you know, do you feel like the Black market affects your business, you know, negatively or positively?
Hold on, Matt. Don't mean to totally interject, but there was a question in the chat from Tondi. And before we get too close to the end, because she asked it in the last session, but it was more relevant to this one. Her question was, how do we engage youth and adults to shift from just growing and oversaturating the industry with just CBD into developing our own processing centers, to labs, to studying and new discoveries about the whole plant?
That's about it.
Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, thank you. That's about thinking outside of touching the plant all the time. That's what we're doing with our education of the women who are members of our organization. We talk about the opportunities that we're missing, not the ones we're chasing. The opportunities we're missing based on data. I'm a very data-driven person because I think everyone can agree numbers don't lie, right? Numbers don't lie. And here's what the numbers say. Numbers say that half of the opportunities in this industry do not touch the plant. But everybody won't go run touch the plant. We are leaving half of the trillions of dollars on the table. So who's going to teach people how to get the trillion that's still on the table that we're not touching? However, 43% of white women are touching it, but we're not touching it. So we're going to touch it now. So it's all about understanding this from a business standpoint, and that it's not simply about growing. It's not simply about owning a dispensary. It's about having other businesses that can support this industry. Why not own a lab? Why not own an HR company that provides the workers? Why not own a payroll company that provides the payroll services? Why not own a securities company that provides the security? All of that is contractually an obligation of everyone that gets a license. They have to have those services. But everybody wants to run and grow. That's because we are always distracted. Historically, we're distracted. We're always distracted, and we still haven't learned that we are distracted. Our attention is put over here when the opportunity is over here. So we have to just continue to really bring forth that real education. and focus in on all of the moving parts of this industry. Everybody grows, and that, you know, if that's your call, do it, do it, do it. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I grew up in a family of farmers. My family is originally from Mississippi. They got plenty of land down there, and we plan on growing down there. I have a co-op farm in Colorado, so don't get me wrong, but I promise you, that's not the core of my business. You haven't heard me talk about that much today. It's not the core of my business. You know why? Because that's not even where the opportunities are. Forward thinking. It's not.
So to piggyback off of Coach, this is why we're focusing on providing labor to actually have a service, a national service that we can actually provide labor, because I don't care how many farms come online, the issue is, where's the labor force? And so she's absolutely correct. Yeah, there's a lot of growers, and I get wanting to grow, but, you know, grow for experience and then go, you know, vertical, because if we do not go to the next level, we get left behind. We are fighting to get a license. We're fighting to get a license to grow cannabis. We're fighting to get a license to grow hemp, but don't get comfortable there, because the industry is way bigger than that. It's a huge industry. And, you know, people just think that, oh, if I just start growing, I'll be wealthy, rich. No, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So the industry is so far wide and needy, but the number one issue that I see that we ran into was labor. I don't care what you're growing. If you don't have people that know how to grow, oh, there's a major loss just waiting to come around the corner.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this got me thinking a lot about, like, you know, Black folks in our community as, you know, a cultural capital and the wealth that we provide in, you know, every aspect of life, from music to fashion, right, to arts. And I think about, like, you know, the biggest thing is for us is, like, how do we, you know, not just be the content creators on Instagram, but have means in the platform, right? And I don't like to use that example only because Instagram is its own entity and all that good stuff, but I think y'all get what I'm saying, right? There's an actual aspect of us being the thing that is driving Twitter and driving media, right? But us not synthesizing the value out of that, right? The same thing that we see with all our musical artists, right? In the transition right now from being a record label to being an independent artist, right? And that whole transition and why it's important to own your masters, right? So those are things that I fall in the line of, like, intellectual property, right? Because I think, you know, in a way where capitalism is swallowing a lot of things up, we're trying to find our nuggets to win throughout. And, you know, a good example I always like to bring is, like, Beyonce, right? She does a lot of work with these other big, I think it was like the one album or a few albums where she's doing where she's like, it's a movie or it's a visual project as well, and it gets released out. And I think that is interesting because when you think about Beyonce's project, she has her own production company, right? So there's her own production company that works to get the vision across, to control how you want to be expressed. And then there's an aspect of that is going to a bigger distributor that has the infrastructure, right? So we know that a lot of these bigger MSOs are going to have the infrastructure. It's a matter of how can we make sure that our IP is valuable enough that we own that and we can make money long term, right? You think about Bob Marley. Bob Marley's, the licensing rights to Bob Marley is owned by, I think, like Doc-Light Brands, right? Which is like a company out of California, or excuse me, out of Canada or something. And they strictly own the IP. So anytime that you need to do anything with Bob Marley, you have to call them, right? That to me is where this is gonna end up going from, hey, the flower prices might go down, but the intellectual property, the brand value, that's gonna stay over time, right? As things become like California, where flower prices are more accessible across the board, IP connection to consumers and to the community is gonna be at an all-time high and premium. So that's something that we're always gonna have as a level of authenticity about what we do because we are the culture, but synthesizing that so that we can extract the value out of that ourselves is the difference maker.
If I may just add something to what this brother said, I want us to just think for a second. And this example is going to kind of give you the aha of what I'm talking about as well. So just imagine if there is a Black designer out there trying to make it in the industry. and that person taps into hemp, the real power of hemp, and that person creates an entire clothing line using hemp. Elon Musk has created a car out of hemp. It hasn't hit the market yet, but it's on its way. Hemp is more than just what we see as something we can turn into a consumable in the way that we eat it or drink it or ingest it, but it is so impactful that it could change the whole diaspora if we use it correctly. We could create wealth we've never, ever seen ever in our lives, in our history as people of color in this country. We have to really think about this and think about this and innovate ourselves, not wait on somebody else to say it's okay. We need to do it ourselves. We need our own infrastructure. We don't need to tap into anybody else's infrastructure because it's young enough and youthful enough for us to do it for ourselves.
I'd like to add that history dictates hemp been around forever. It was here before cotton. So everything that we're talking about, if we just bring history forward, it's for automotive industry, it's for the garment industry, it's for replacing of plastic. Hemp is one of the most valuable commodities out here. People just been pushing it down because it did serve them for economic reasons. And now it's popping back up. Trust and believe, you will have a bunch of these major corporations switching over when they see that that market is heating up, they will switch over and we will be locked out. So if we just keep our mind on trying to grow, and we do not look at the industry as a whole and try to make sure that we're able to get in on the starting line now, we will get locked out.
Appreciate that. I like how y'all really touched into my last question in terms of sustainability. You know, as agriculturalists, we are naturally have sustainability, you know, in our minds and like a goal. So, you know, it's different tiers of sustainability as far as environmental and economic. So just like environmentally, you know, we can process this plant into hempcrete or into, you know, fiber for clothes and things like that. But just more or less, it can be innovation as well and the sustainability. But how do you guys incorporate sustainability in your business as entrepreneurs? Like, and you know, what degree of sustainability do y'all incorporate? Because like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be environmental.
We don't reinvent the wheel. I'm sorry, you can go ahead, brother.
No, Coach, go.
I was gonna say, we don't reinvent the wheel. There are enough people, you mentioned the black market earlier, there are enough people, growers that we know on the black market that we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel and go find some new people to grow and new people to teach. We just go to the people that's been doing it underground for the last 10, 20, 30 previous generations to come, and we help them organize from a business standpoint. You have to take these things. It's just like the movie New Jack City. You can create an empire out of something that already is. It's already there. The skill set is already there. Let's transfer it over here and show you how to make it work in a sustainable way. So we tap into what already is. We're not trying to go out and reinvent the wheel. We got enough smart, intelligent, capable Black folks that already do what we need. It's Black folks who are on the blockchain doing amazing things, but because they are doing it for their own community, they're not going to be in the news. They're not going to get the accolades. So we tap into those people. We tap into those people that we can build an underground network. You know, it's the new underground, right? We create the new underground so we stay off the radar and we can continue to grow. And by the time people figure out what we're doing, they can't stop us. So that's what we do. We create sustainability out of the things that are already in existence, that are already there. We don't need anything new other than technology, and the technology is there already anyway. We just have to figure out how to use it.
I kind of agree with that as well. And going, I didn't touch on the black market. Black market is going to be here on every avenue. Black market is never going to go away. So it is what it is. But you have a lot of people that's coming online for the medicinal purposes that is tied or taking pharmaceuticals. So therefore, those individuals not going to the black market. My mom is 84 years old. She has bouts with anxiety. She takes my soft gels religiously every day so that she can handle her anxiety. So she refuses to take those pills that they constantly give her. Like Coach Swan said at the top of the conversation, how her mom had this issue because the doctor forces these pharmaceuticals down your throat because they make that's the only thing that's going to keep you alive. And they believe that. They live for that, thinking the doctor would not lie to me, right? So in terms of saying the black market going to be here, but it's not affecting the ones that's actually trying to do it for medicinal purposes. Yeah, the people recreational, they want to have fun. That's that black market. You have maybe a small percentage of it that's going for the pharmaceutical or the medicinal purposes of that, but that market is going to be here and it's going to stay. In terms of sustainability, we know that the shift is coming for, everybody is waking up now. When they start telling everybody start reading labels, that was the best thing they could ever start doing, because now people actually read what's in this stuff, and then they have to Google, say what is in it, and then they find out all that stuff is killing you. So therefore, you have this sustainable market that's coming, that's going to be reducing all this stuff in terms of trees, and you have the ozone level, you have all this stuff that's happening. You have no choice. You have to be able to look for what is going to be able to, not in our lifetime, but in our children's lifetime. How do we save them? How do we keep them from being able to just wear masks 24/7 just because of the conditions in the air, and not you know, God forbid the viruses, but how do we keep them to be able to just walk around and enjoy some of the life that we had when we grew up as young? Because if it keeps traveling down this road, the earth will be messed up completely. So in terms of trying to switch things around the way we know that we can do, we started, like Coach says, don't wait. We all just need to just start huddling up. You know, what Coach is doing, hey, Coach, I'm doing this. And then we merge and we do joint venture projects. There's enough of us that's been on this meeting today to say that we can make a difference, because we need to. I mean, from toilet paper to paper towels, it's all fiber. So it's not like we can't do it, it's who's doing it. How do we team up with them to help them? Okay, what do you need? You need more product? You need more biomass? What do you need? How do we help you? I believe in, I cannot be a success unless I help you to become a success.
Amen.
That is our motto.
Hey.
Ashe.
Yeah, lastly, I'll just add, I mean, I think I haven't necessarily had to get as involved, I guess, like as a grower, you know, so I'm always honored to kind of be amongst the Tuskegee crowd and folks who are on the agricultural side who are really getting to it on the green thumbs. But I would say, I do think about sustainability in the sense of like, I guess like emotional, mental sustainability, like professional sustainability. Like, how do you keep going? You know, even if you're a small team, even if you don't have all the resources, how do you make it so that you may have to work a 9 to 5, but you can still contribute to your larger goal, right? Because not everybody has the luxury of just being able to focus on entrepreneurship. So I think that's something that I've had to, you know, reconcile on my own is, you know, what is it gonna, like I said, what can we do the most with the least, you know, as we grow? And how do you make it so that, you know, you're not feeling burnt out? You know, that's something that can happen very quickly in this industry, in terms of just overworking yourself, feeling like you're always behind, but having to catch up. And, you know, you're doing it with a team of just you and a friend or 3 others, right? Making that work. So again, I think about, like, how do you make the best use of your time, and how do you make your time stretch so that you're feeling refreshed and you can keep going for months, years, and decades, because this is a very long game that we're playing.
Appreciate that. Everybody give a round of applause to our participants.
I already do that now. That's Cando's fault.
Yeah.
All right?
Man, I really enjoyed engaging with you guys. From a person in the industry to hearing y'all perspectives is really refreshing. So I'm gonna reach out to each one of y'all individually, so we can build. And if I can employ any of my resources to help y'all succeed, let me know. Thank you.
I say, but
First, womenwhocannabis.org, womenwhocannabis.org, we are waiving all of our membership fees because we want to count and account for Black women owners in the industry, because we believe you cannot measure that which you cannot count. We have a whole campaign for 2022, Be Counted. We are giving out classes and courses, a lot of free things so that our sisters can grow their businesses. And we're also rolling out some things in the fintech industry as it relates to cannabis that we want all of our sisters to be able to tap into. Womenwhocannabis.org. Free. The membership fees are waived indefinitely for all of 2022. So go there, tap in, become a member. And every single month, we have resources and we have coaching sessions and things that you may not be aware of going in the industry. A good example is there was an opportunity for free land in West Virginia. And we let everybody know about that as well. If you wanted to grow, they were giving land away. So tap into these opportunities and resources that we share every single month. And I'll put my info in the chat as well.
I just like to say that if anyone is interested in trying to become their own brand, we love to help you with that. I sent my email and our website. But if you look at our website, it's familycbd.com. Imagine your name. Take that off. What we're just saying is that we can brand you, and gummies to teachers to shampoo, conditioners, it doesn't matter. It's room in this, and you need to try to get in it now if you're thinking about it. And it's not that big of a deal, because if you're actually believing in the product and you got a passion for it, it will work.
Well, thank you, CK and Coach Swan, for your time. I want to obviously give a shameless plug to Kando and Lakaya, the whole HBCU team at Tuskegee. Obviously, thank you, Matt and Too Fast and everybody there. So definitely just keep, I dropped studentmmj.com in the bio, or in the chat, where we have jobs up on the site, more events that we'll be posting for 2022 coming soon at the top of the year. So a lot of that is coming up, and we're going to be doing a lot more in the future. So I'm excited and really appreciative of the space.